Hey everybody, welcome to the studio. Today we're going to talk about the thing that maybe has crushed the souls of more guitar players, that has broke the spirits of countless musicians. We are going to talk about patch cables. We can't get away from them. We have to use them. We need them. This is ancient technology.
Ancient technology.
We're going to talk about why they fail. We're going to talk about when to upgrade, because inevitably these will let you down and break your heart. Let's get into it. We all have to start somewhere. You know, you get your first pedal. For me, it was like, I think it was a DD3 and an OC2 or OC3.
Hi, this is Chad from the past.
OC2
I did not play an OC2
or OC3.
or an OC3. I played an SD1.
Whatever the very basic overdrive pedal was, you know, and I had to connect them. How do you connect them? Well, the folks at my local guitar store had a bucket filled with these. So every time I would go to my local guitar store, I would go to that bucket. I would pick out one of these. These were like dirt cheap, and the best part, they were guaranteed for life. That was the store's policy. You better believe every couple weeks when one of these would break, I didn't know which one would break. I didn't know in the pedal board one would fail. I would just take the whole batch. I would take a batch of like 6 or 7 of these cables and be like, oh, they're all broken, man. I can't broken. And the guys would be like, all right, cool. They would take them and reach into the bucket and give me brand new ones. You'd think, wow, this is a great plan. New cables whenever I want them. I didn't realize that these were destroying my tone. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to give it too much credit, but they do. So let's talk about going from the generic bucket cable to the next step. The next step up was, oh, we'll get some some nicely packaged ones. They were a few dollars more, but they would come in a package. They'd come in a little plastic thing and it'd be holding like that. And oh man, okay, it's a little bit more stiff. You know, this is rubber. You know, this is like not braided. They still have the rubber shielding to protect the innards of the cable, which is nice, right? I don't know the magic that is in these, but there isn't any, okay? They will pass signal for the most part. I can't tell you how long they'll pass signal for, but they'll pass signal. Now, the other thing that I hated was the size of the end here. I mean, it is just gargantuan. But if you're rocking something with really tight connections, or you got pedals right up next to each other, this does not work. You can kind of hold it together. Then because of the tension on the cable, it's pushing the pedals apart. Velcro's struggling. Don't do that. Let's keep going, okay? The next step was, I'm a professional. I gotta use a professional solderless. Next, I found Planet Waves cables. Now, they were offering solderless kit, you know, this is kind of the next best thing. And at the time, I couldn't really justify the cost of like going all lava cables or Gearge L's. Those were like the two big front runners. You weren't a real guitar player unless you had some of those on your board. It's so dumb. That's not true at all. I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 packs of these, changing out every single cable on the board. It sounded like someone took a blanket off of my pedal board. After that day, I truly became a believer. I was like, okay, there is something to be said going with a higher quality cable, because we have all been there. You step on your pedal and what happens? Nothing happens. The sound gone. Your pedal board is dead in the water, and all of a sudden you hear the click in your ears, and you know, intro 2, 1, 2. I got nothing. And you're frantically just, oh God, please, for the love of God, come back. You're begging. You don't want that type of turmoil and that type of unreliability in your relationship with your gear. After that point, I started only using solderless cables. Hated how big that is. That is huge. That's the size of a pedal. Next step, get something a little smaller. When I switched to these, loved these. The next step after this, I started making my own cables. I thought that's the professional way to do it. I'm gonna solder my own cables. Go out and you get a bunch of pancake, switchcraft. It's great. These are great cables. There's a lot of things that go into soldered cable. Not always necessary for some pedal boards. Let's look at why you would maybe want to go with a space-saving cable option. The HELIX. Okay, the beautiful people at Line 6 gave us the ability to have effects loops. This is awesome. Absolutely love this. But the problem is they're real close to each other. They are very tight, compact, as they should be, because they're having to cram a lot of good stuff on this thing, right? So let's say you go out and you buy a bunch of switchcraft cables and ends, and then this happens to you. So let's talk about this. What happens if you get some, pancake connectors like this, and let's say we go into effect slip one. Oh, great. Grab another one. Let's go into... Beautiful. Oh, that's it. But what happens if we want to get to those guys? Okay, well, let's flip that up there. And now that, well, that looks a little... But if you try to plug, you know, another pancake cable in, you physically start running into this problem of space. It's really frustrating. It doesn't look the way you want it. Yeah, I know they make smaller cables. I do. I know they make smaller square cables that I'm not checking out. Oh, you need it. Why aren't you using? Okay, I know they do. Let me show you what I'm currently using and why I'm using them. Get these out of there. Just. In my constant search for like pedal boards and pedals and cables and gear, I found this company that I'm really satisfied with. They're called GHOSTFIRE. I actually found them on Amazon. I was just Googling solderless cables, and these guys showed up. Over the past couple of months, I have started switching every cable over to the GHOSTFIRE solderless cables. The DIY solderless pedal board patch cable system. These are such an incredible value for the quality. I mean, guys, the quality that you're getting with these is insane. In the bag, comes with like cable splicer, you got a screwdriver in there. Like, that's awesome. The thing I love about it is how thin this cable is. Just so you can kind of get like some comparison here. This is a Gearge L cable. That right there is almost the exact same gauge, if not the exact same gauge. Check this out. Same gauge. Okay, so it comes with plenty of cable. I think there's like 10 feet of cable here. The other thing that I really like, so awesome, gold plated, which like not just the tip is gold plated, the entire sleeve down here is gold plated. So let's make one of these for the pedal board. Let's do it right now. Okay, we have all been here on the floor trying to figure out and solve cable problems. If you have spent any time with the pedal board, for us modeler guys, we don't really have to do this until we start using pedals outside the HELIX, and then we need help and we got to get down here. We got to make some cables. I'm going to make a few of these GHOSTFIRE cables. Okay, I really like how small those are. Those are great. We're going to replace some of the last remaining D'Addario or Planet Waves cables. Nothing wrong with them. Slightly heavier than I want them to be. I'm also weird and I just want things to match. I want my cables to match. Okay, I've got each one of these UA effect amp pedals in stereo. It's going into this Jet Pedals routing pedal. It's a way for me to have parallel amps in true stereo. Left and right of one amp, left and right of another amp, literally sitting on top of each other, coexisting and sounding amazing. Releasing the zip tie. Let's start with this one right here. Oh my God, just let it go. Okay. This was the old cable. They're great. They really are. Small connection points, good. They don't really get as flat as I wish they would, you know, on the right angle. They're not, it's okay. So let's go with the GHOSTFIRE option. Mainly, I just love how thin this cable is. Like, that is so nice, especially running things, you know, along the top of the pedal trains. I know you're supposed to run them under it, but check this out. Everything, this is all of my power, okay? Now, I try to keep my audio cables not running right alongside them, like tape or, you know, zip tied to them. I like primarily keeping my audio cables on top of the pedal train, you know? Just running them down the sides. No need to go under the board. That requires a lot more cabling. We don't need to do that. So, step one, we take our GHOSTFIRE end here. Now, the cool thing with these is you can either do them as straight cables or you can do right angle. We're gonna use right angle cables. We're gonna take the cable here. I personally like these little cable cutters a little bit better. They're just less travel point, less travel time. Okay, nice, good, clean edge. Okay, real tight, really just so, because you want that to be as flat as possible, because this is the stuff that matters, guys. You know, when you want reliability, when you want durability, longevity, all the ivities, you want that real nice and flat. Okay, so here's the best part about these. I love the feeling you push that cable in and you can honestly feel that connection get made, and it's really tight, really firm, and I don't feel like I have to like keep my thumb down because it's gonna slip out. The combination of jack to cable, they did a great job. Let's take the cap. Let's put the cap on there. All right, teeny tiny small screw. screwdriver, and boom, one side perfectly made. Oh, that's a good connection. Solid connection. Push that down a little bit, and then we get this cable here. You don't just want to hold up point to point, you know, because that's not a good thing. You know, that can cause some problems. That can cause some miscalculations with measurements. Run it like you're gonna run it. So under all of the cabling or all the routing that you want to do with your cable, all right, we don't want it super tight either, okay? We want there to be a little bit of slack. I mean, a little bit of slack on either side, just because if you're pulling one off, you're switching out a cable, you want to be able to, you know, move things and not rip cables out. We've talked about what happens when the cables get too much tension, they break. Looking at it, we're going to travel about there, okay? Because you got to remember, it's got to go inside the end first, okay? So don't just snip it where you think it's going to end. You got to give it a little bit more slack, okay? So let's cut, make it as clean and as quick as possible. Because sometimes if you go too slow, then it starts fraying that copper shielding on the outside. Don't want that. All right, let's get our next end out. For the sake of this, I know that this cable is the right length, okay? So I'm going to pull that out. This is why it's important to take care of your crap, to do regular maintenance, taking care of your crap. All right, I know this cable is going to go from that side, and it's ultimately going to end up facing that way. So take the end of the cable, and the way it's going to sit in the pedal, I'm going to make sure that that orientation is going the right way. Angle it down, put the cap, get your tiny screw, teeny tiny toilet. Boom. Now, before I put this in the cable, I'm going to check it. It is
so important
to test your cables. Test your cables. Today is brought to you by the little mini Marshall. All right, I'm gonna plug it in, make some noise, make some signal, right? Always plug a guitar into it. Turn up the volume. Let's make sure we pass signal. Kind of move it around a little bit. Keep it plugged in. But do a little stress test, you know, kind of move the cable around, check the ends. Solid connection. Perfect length, perfect slack, that's what you want. Now, I'm gonna handle, let's see here, 1, 2, 3 more of these cables, and I'll get back to you. I wish it didn't matter as much as it does, but it really does matter. The quality of cable, truly, even down to the smallest little patch cable, even these matter. Your signals going through it, your tones going through it, cables matter. They really do. I'm pretty sure all of the guitar snobs of the internet can agree with me there. Cables matter. Now, do you need to go out and get, you know, $40,000 worth of Mogami cables? Probably not. But a great product like GHOSTFIRE, this right here, easy choice, easy choice. This isn't a sponsored video. I actually reached out to them and I'm like, more people need to know about this. These are great options. I am so happy, very happy with my tone, happy more with the reliability that this company and these cables give me. So if you're interested in that and you want to try some cables for yourself, there's a link in the description. Use my promo code LINECHECK and you'll get a little bit of discount on your checkout. Grab you some cables. It's always good just to have great patch cables laying around. You can make them to pre-made lengths. You can customize them all the way down to these little bitty things. They're great. So, guys, buy your cables, take care of your gear, check your cables often. Just because they're working right now doesn't mean you shouldn't stress test them as you go, okay? So, go out, make some music. The only way to make music is if you're heard, right? So, be heard. Go check out some GHOSTFIRE cables. All right, later.